Have you ever wondered what it was like to live in the ancient world as a Roman slave? Can you imagine enduring backbreaking labor, facing constant danger, and having your very existence dictated by others? Are you ready to uncover the secrets of a forgotten era and explore the extraordinary tales of resilience and survival? Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will explore a day in the insane, tough life of a Roman slave. So let's get straight into the video. The lives of Roman slaves were marked by unimaginable hardships and deprivation. As the lowest social class in Roman society, they were stripped of basic legal protections and ownership rights. Their owners possessed the authority to punish and even kill them at will. Roman history witnessed three main categories of slaves based on their roles in workplaces: private slaves, public slaves, and household slaves. The average duration of slavery lasted over 30 years, with individuals becoming enslaved through various means such as war, birth, or criminal punishment. Regardless of their origin, the existence of a Roman slave was akin to living in perpetual torment. In order to truly grasp the daily experiences of a Roman slave, it is necessary to delve deeper into their routines, living conditions, treatment, and aspirations for freedom. Now let's talk about the types of Roman slaves. Roman slaves held distinct roles and had diverse origins within society. Private slaves served individuals and were employed in various capacities such as personal attendants, secretaries, or tutors. Public slaves, on the other hand, worked in public institutions like libraries, post offices, or treasuries. Household slaves were assigned to domestic tasks within wealthy households, including cleaning, cooking, and childcare. The origins of Roman slaves varied greatly. Some were captured as prisoners of war during military conquests, while others were born into slavery as the offspring of enslaved parents. Criminals could also be enslaved as a form of punishment. The circumstances of their enslavement determined the trajectory of their lives as slaves. Whether they toiled on vast agricultural estates or in bustling urban settings, the common thread among all Roman slaves was the harsh and unforgiving reality of their existence. A typical day in the life of a Roman slave was one filled with arduous tasks and endless servitude. The day began before sunrise, as slaves were required to wake up before their owners and assist them in dressing and preparing for the day ahead. Once the owners departed for work, the slaves would have a meager breakfast, often consisting of bland and inexpensive food like grains and porridge. Household slaves would then proceed to their daily duties, which included cleaning, gardening, washing clothes, and running errands. Education was a luxury seldom afforded to slaves, with most of them being trained solely in the skills necessary to perform their assigned tasks. Slaves would attend to guests, open doors, make seating arrangements, and serve food and drinks. Their social interactions were limited, with friendships mostly confined to fellow slaves or individuals they encountered in their workplace. The grueling nature of a slave's day extended into the evening, as they continued to serve their owners until bedtime. Some slaves were provided with living quarters within the owner's house or nearby, while others slept in communal spaces like kitchens or small cells. Their personal time and freedom were severely restricted, leaving them little opportunity to pursue their own interests or establish meaningful relationships. The daily routine of a Roman slave offered no respite or reprieve from their servitude. From the moment they woke up until the time they retired to their meager sleeping arrangements, their lives were consumed by the demands and whims of their owners. It was a life of perpetual toil and subjugation, where every moment was spent catering to the needs and desires of others. Do you know about the harsh living conditions and limited rights? Living conditions for Roman slaves were harsh and devoid of basic comforts. Many slaves were crammed into crowded and cramped quarters, lacking privacy and personal space. Some were fortunate enough to have a cot or blankets to sleep on, while others slept in less desirable locations such as kitchens or stables. Farm slaves were often kept chained at night as a means of control and prevention of escape. In essence, the living conditions of Roman slaves were characterized by extreme deprivation, limited freedoms, and a complete absence of rights or autonomy. Food and nutrition posed a constant struggle for Roman slaves as they faced meager rations and limited sustenance. Breakfast, the first meal of the day, consisted of cheap and tasteless options such as grains and porridge. Slaves received little food, and even a piece of bread was considered a fortunate addition to their meal. Household slaves had slightly better access to food compared to their counterparts in other settings. However, their meals were still far from lavish and fell short of the quality enjoyed by their owners. Gladiator slaves who fought for their masters received better nourishment to maintain their strength and endurance. They were provided with roasted meats, fresh cheese, eggs, goat milk, and a diet specifically designed to keep them fit. For most slaves, the opportunity to eat only came once a day, unless special occasions or religious events allowed for additional meals. The rest of their day was marked by hunger and the constant struggle to sustain themselves in a system that prioritized the needs and desires of their owners over their own basic nourishment. Social interactions and relationships of Roman slaves. Roman slaves were severely limited in their social interactions and relationships, as their lives were tightly controlled by their owners. Slaves had no autonomy to form relationships without the consent of their owners, and their friendships were often restricted to fellow slaves or individuals they encountered in their workplace. Household slaves had a closer proximity to their owners and were limited to interacting primarily with the family members of their owners. They might develop personal bonds with other slaves within the household, but such connections were subject to the watchful eyes of their masters. Some slaves managed to form unofficial relationships or engage in quaternium, a form of unofficial marriage to create families of their own. However, the state did not recognize their unions as legal, and they lacked any legal protections for their relationships or children. The social interactions and relationships of Roman slaves were tightly circumscribed, reflecting the oppressive and dehumanizing nature of their existence. Slaves in ancient Rome were subjected to relentless mistreatment and cruelty by their owners. They were seen as property devoid of rights or dignity. Physical abuse was commonplace, with owners inflicting brutal punishments on their slaves, sometimes leading to their death. Slaves were often beaten, whipped, or subjected to other forms of sadistic punishment, with no legal protections in place to safeguard them. The dehumanization of slaves extended to various aspects of their lives. They were forced to engage in hard labor, working long hours with little respite. Slaves endured harsh living conditions, overcrowded quarters, and limited access to basic necessities. Their owners treated them as objects of pleasure, exploiting them sexually and subjecting them to acts of violence. The sheer brutality and callousness inflicted upon slaves underscored the complete disregard for their well-being and humanity. Their lives were marked by suffering, fear, and a constant struggle to survive in a system that perpetuated their subjugation. In short, for Roman slaves, freedom was a distant and elusive dream, yet it remained a driving force in their lives. Despite the oppressive conditions they endured, many slaves harbored a deep yearning to escape their servitude and attain liberation. Some managed to achieve freedom by accumulating enough money or property to buy their way out of bondage. These fortunate few could negotiate with their owners and pay a fee to secure their release. However, the path to freedom was treacherous and challenging. Slaves faced countless obstacles, including financial constraints and the ever-present risk of recapture. Escaping required careful planning, often involving clandestine efforts and assistance from sympathetic individuals. Freedom came at a high price, and those who achieved it cherished their newfound independence, no longer bound by the chains of servitude. The quest for liberation consumed the thoughts and hopes of Roman slaves, providing a glimmer of light amidst their bleak existence. It was a testament to the resilience and unwavering spirit of those who dared to envision a life beyond their oppressive circumstances. And as we bid adieu to this day in the insane, tough life of the Roman slave, may we carry their stories forward, never forgetting the resilience, strength, and unwavering spirit that define the indomitable human soul. That's gonna be all for this video. We hope you have enjoyed it a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon for more interesting videos like this. Thank you for watching our video.